Plenty of horses entered in this at this stage. A number of them have one eye on the Hennessy, including last year's Hennessy's winner Carruthers, who at this stage heads them. Whether he takes part remains to be seen. Unlikely, I would say. T for 3, though, who was a bold front-running winner at the festival, providing Rebecca Curtis with a first festival success, a live chance in the race on Saturday. But as we highlighted earlier, at this stage the final field yet to come through, but at this stage a competitive handicap, Stuart.
Yeah, it's a really good race on paper at this stage. Let's hope most of the principals stand their ground. There would be no more poignant winner than Carruthers, Lord Oakes' memorial service last week. And unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to show us what form he might have been in this autumn when he rather controversially got left at the start at Cheltenham last month.
Yeah, one or two of those happening at the moment. Another one at Exeter yesterday.
Yeah.
These new starts and etc. etc. So unfortunately, you're always going to get it occasionally. It's not an ideal situation, and I'm sure there was no more frustrated people than Connections that they couldn't get a run into him before this race, which is obviously, looks to fit in nicely with their season.
Be a good performance though to win this under 11 stone 12 on what is effectively his first run of the year, given some of those that are in opposition. Although, as Ollie has said, some of these will be taking in this race at the weekend en route to a crack at the Hennessy. For one or two of the others, this might just be the target.
A decent stepping stone, I suppose. And he had a run, hadn't he, before he won the Hennessy last year. So it will be difficult to get him ready first time up. But I think the Bradstocks had a first-time hurdle winner recently at Uttoxeter that won very comfortably.
Yes, did. That's a good point.
Of course, we've got Maid of Oaksey later on as well in the bumper. So maybe that might be a significant victory if that was to win, and a good pointer for the weekend for them. But it looks a decent heat with the likes of Galaxy Rock in here as well. True died in the Wool Stayers.
Yeah, with previous in this race, Galaxy Rock.
T for 3 and
4 mile winner. Do you want to have a look at T for 3 in action in the 4 miler? While we discuss his chances. It's the obvious place to start off T for 3 at this race, isn't it? He gave Rebecca Curtis her first ever festival winner. He had Harry the Viking et al. In behind. It's just possible that a couple of those in behind will reoppose this coming Saturday. Again, it's going to take a good performance though to win a decent 3.5 mile handicap chase in your first run of the season.
It is, especially the way that he's ridden as well, where he's very prominent and aggressively ridden. He was brilliantly ridden this day by JT McNamara, and he really saw it out strongly. Saw off Harry the Viking in brave fashion, and also of course the Gigginstown horse that faded on the run-in, but he really did stick to his task exceptionally well, jumped superbly as well. And the Curtis team are a stable that are very much on an upward curve. They have good patrons, they have money behind them regarding quality of horses that are bought, and T for 3 is another example of the fact that they're managing to really realise that potential and the faith that other people are putting in them.
We talked about the Paddy Power Gold Cup earlier in the afternoon. We discussed the chances of Grand Cru, who represents David Pipe. Now, it just might be a red letter day for the Pipe Yard on Saturday. Of course, last weekend they had the big handicap chase winner at Wincanton with the package. Problematic could represent them in this race on Saturday. He's a fascinating horse to me this winter because he's still only a 6-year-old.
Yeah, very young horse, and it's asking quite a lot, I think. This will be a real tough war of attrition. I'm not sure he had that much left in the tank here at Ayr. I think we're going to see the VT. And
there it is.
He just about saw off Lackamon and Brunswick Gold. Lively Baron was back in 5th. He looks as though he's going to be a real comprehensive winner here with plenty of authority. He looks a long distance chaser, doesn't he, this horse? I like the way that he sort of attacks his racing. Very, very sort of formidable stature about him almost, that just keeps galloping and grinding. Now, whether he'd done a little bit too much perhaps in the early part of this race, but he just sort of comes to the end of his tether a little bit here for me, which is a bit concerning. But he's entitled, with the summer on his back, to have strengthened and grown and prospered down at Pond House. So, there's going to be more to come from him. But he's taking on some real hard-knocking handicappers here over, a real marathon trip on
horses that stay very well. And for one or two of whom, this 3 mile, 3.5 is an absolute minimum, you'd say, as well.
It's not going to be far enough, is it?
No.
And they've been there and done it round Cheltenham in handicap company as well. He's sort of beaten smaller fields, obviously in novice company. He's got tons of potential, and he's a really interesting and exciting horse to look forward to this year in staying chases, but it might be tough for him Saturday.
Okay. Any Currency has got form at Cheltenham and stays a lot further than this, and he's in decent heart as well.
He is, came back in great form, didn't he, really, in
Wincanton.
in the Wincanton race over a similar trip, seeing off Only Witness and Ray Nacarado. I think the third might be interesting at the Hennessy meeting when he goes for that handicap chase that he won last year. But this was a good performance from Martin Keeley's charge, who had sort of slipped to a workable mark as well. He's back up to 135 now.
He is, and he's back in a deeper race as well. I think it's fair to say on Saturday this is going to be a whole lot more competitive than this race.
And he takes a bit of training apparently. This guy, he's not the most straightforward. He does have his little issues and stuff, but he's been brilliantly handled by the team, and they got him back to great form, and he got cracking right from Squeak Corley on that occasion. So with one that handles the ground, handles Cheltenham, handles a track, no problem. There's less issues about him when he's in good form. He's definitely shortlist material.
Okay. One or two of Saturday's possibles teed up for this race by running in the 3-miler at the showcase meeting on the Saturday a few weeks ago. Galaxy Rock among them. Bradley was another one in action. We could probably deal with them pretty much together. Let's talk about Galaxy Rock first of all, because he's got previous in this race. This is Galaxy Rock's effort.
Yeah, he's got a couple of wins already at Cheltenham. Just saw that he wasn't that fluent in the straight, but he's run an absolute blinder. And this was perhaps when the yard weren't really amongst the winners. Now they've burst back to life this week, and I always think these big days, as John Joe showed at the festival last year, that they're very, very adept at getting them ready. Jackdaw's Castle, and Galaxy Rock has got to be there and thereabouts. Really, he's been there, done it before, and you'd imagine that he's going to be a major player in this field. Bradley, interesting as well.
I like Bradley.
Yeah.
I must admit.
Do you think the extra triple suit him
I
a bit more?
think definitely. I think he found that an absolute minimum for him, and that was his first run since winning the Hunter Chase at Cheltenham in the spring. Yeah. He's got course form. He was on a rapid upward curve, wasn't he, in the spring? Timmy Murphy was getting on well with him, which would have been a plus, but obviously Timmy's at this stage scheduled to ride Poker to Civilla.
Yes.
But I still think Bradley will be a big player at the weekend.
The yard enjoying a good time of it as well. That run shorter brought him on as well, and he wasn't knocked about after the last, was he? So who ride Paddy Brennan? Did he ride him the other day?
Possibly, I don't know. He wasn't chalked up as of yesterday, but there'll be no shortage of possibilities, I would have thought.
No, absolutely.
And if Poker de Civilla doesn't run, then Timmy would become free, I guess.
Yeah, he's very much on an upward curve, isn't he, Bradley? And almost unexposed under rules over these marathon trips, isn't
very much so, I think. Yeah, because his progression came quite late in the spring, didn't it? And it came from an ordinary level through the ranks.
Yeah, so he'd be a quiet one in the race, really, wouldn't he, Bradley?
I think he'll be a player.
Yep.
Anything else you want to mention? We talked around most of the principles. I mean, we could talk about several more as well, but at this stage we don't know exactly what's going to run, but there's the list.
Yeah, pick the bones out of that. Is that what you're suggesting?
Throw out any name that you want to from all of that.
Obviously, I don't know where the Master Overseer runs, but he's of interest, isn't he? Given the connections, and given the fact that the last time we saw him, he was winning over the marathon trip of the Midlands National, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
At a big price. No, sorry, he won the Midlands National. No, that's right. Yeah. Was it the Midlands National he won, was it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Of course it was.
I think it was. I was there. I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm confusing myself here. And I mean, that was a terrific performance, and showed great guts and determination that day to see off Major Malarkey. I mean, the two of them went hammer and tongs, didn't they, in the straight? So, yeah, he would be interesting as well, given the fact that Connections love to win races at this meeting.
Yeah.